Coming soon to own on video and DVD. Coming soon to own on video and DVD.
Okay, hello and welcome. Thank you so much, each of you, for joining in today. Thank you for being so engaged in the email newsletters and on social media. Thank you for being you. Thank you for shining your light, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to do exactly the same thing. I'm so grateful because the response from episode number 1, The Greatest Miracle in the World, was overwhelming and beautiful. And some of the things that women I truly genuinely respect had to say about my creation and the documentation of the journey so far, or this adventure, we go back and forth with this in our inner circle, has been a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I'm so moved to be on the path of doing what I'm truly feeling I'm called to do with Art Heals Earth Show. So thank you for being a part of that. And today we have a special episode. This is called the Italian Eigenvector. And an eigenvector is a series of linear equations. And this is my episode reflecting on what it is to be inside of a matrix and what it is to be, in essence and mathematically, a matrix. And it talks about all of that through the lens of some time that I spent in Italy when I was creating a ceramics collection based on the book, which is unreleased. Thank you, damn it, Karina's Corona Diary. So some of the imagery from that sculpture and from the video talks about what I talk about within the book. And soon we'll give you more information about where you can also get the book, because it is not publicly released as of yet. Without further ado, buckle up and let's watch the Italian Eigenvector.
The eigenvector, it's seeing behind and beyond the matrix. Whenever we talk about the matrix, we sort of talk about being outside of the matrix, getting outside of, escaping the matrix. But I sort of see the truth as being that we are the matrix, and not running from ourselves, but really finding peace and love for every single part of what we experience in this matrix as ourself. And that can be hard, because when we do that, we realize we have to look at every single piece of negativity in this world, of oppression, of war and sickness, illness, hatred, every single ailment that exists on this planet. And we have to, or we have the opportunity to rather, realize that it only exists as a part of our consciousness, meaning we are it and it is us, and it exists because it exists within us. And so no longer looking outside of ourselves for blame or the solution. Because when we take ownership of the fact that everything which exists in existence exists because it is part of us, that's whenever we're able to take ownership and accountability for the way that we show up in the world. And I don't think I believe anymore that it's about escaping anything. I think it's really just about coming to terms with the fact that this existence is what we perceive it to be, what we create it to be. And I'm on my own journey. I'm finding ways to be more intentional with my energy, to be able to positively impact more people's lives, or to positively impact fewer people's lives in more profound ways.
I saw your post, and it totally, I said, if my baby girls can be articulate feeling this, of course, yes, and it was know your value, don't compromise, like, I was like, oh my God, if I can't take my own advice that's being regurgitated to me, then what in the hell am I doing here? And your lesson and your consciousness sharing and self-love creating image sunk into my heart and helped me through a little transition that day, which was very meaningful to me, so thank you.
Wow, that's so powerful. I'm proud of you. That's huge. It's hard sometimes.
So hard. It was so hard.
But it's interesting because we get to ask ourselves, like, what does...
It was very, very ill.
Yeah. But we get to ask, like, what does me saving this person validate within myself that's, like, lacking if I don't compromise my own position?
Yeah, no, it's always that self-sacrifice.
Yeah.
When you sign up either your time, your energy, your heart, your resource, your money, whatever it is. I don't have it to give. So it was, a clear decision, but I was having trouble making the decision until I saw your affirmations, and that changed my game. So I just wanted to thank you. It was timely. Super timely.
Thank you. I don't believe that simply living in contentment is what I'm here to do. I do feel called towards something greater, and I think that is something that a lot of people resonate with, truly. And when we go deep into that path, we're able to see how by doing things that fulfill us, we are able to make a bigger impact on the planet, on the people around us. But sitting and being filled with the consumption and the distractions of this modern age without creating anything and sharing it with the world is not something that has ever satisfied me. I might feel content in doing nothing at times, which I think is really important, but without actually making the intentional effort, or rather not effort, but just choice, I guess, to share our gifts with the world, I think we are missing something fundamentally. And it's the acceptance that our existence is, in fact, a matrix.
Most intellects do not believe in God, but they feel it's just the same. Oh no, 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 no. And if If you don't wanna be down here, you don't wanna pick my apple tree. If you don't wanna be down here, 'cause you did not do the math. See what you think. The world keeps turning. Most intellects do not believe in God, but they just the same.
They were off the chain.
It sounds off the chain.
And I'm creating corn whiskey flambe, corn souffle for corn ice cream, sweet corn ice cream. Oh my God, we were off the chain. We did crazy food stuff. We had more fun in the kitchen. And that's how we love each other, is cooking together.
That is
And
so
it's
true.
weird that you know, my kids and our life, that I'm not fluent by any means in Italian, but that our life is in Italy, and that your life is in, you know, your family's life is from Italy, and how much roots we have there, and how both of our families are so soul tied to that terra firma.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy you're there, Karina. Be well.
Troppo buono.
All of the muscles and the movement and all of the shape of the anatomy sort of just comes organically with each touch, and the least amount of movement you can do is, for one, better for the clay, but also most aesthetically pleasing. So that's the motive with this. So I only know what I see, and it's very hard to be objective about your own creation, as many artists watching this probably do know. Even people who don't identify as an artist probably know it can be difficult to be objective about what it is that you specifically create. It's at the point where you like have to confront it. That's me figuring out how I'm gonna prop this up and get it to the ceramic studio, but maybe that part we'll figure out later. Can maybe be more secure. So that's step one here. Cross hatching on one piece here. Now I'm going to do the cross hatching on the base. And I'm going to add my slip. I'm using a paintbrush for the first time today, which is rare for it to be 6 p.m. and I haven't used a paintbrush yet. Okay, it's really hard, so maybe I won't. It's a little bit more watery than normal, but that's okay. I'm just gonna lather this up at the bottom here. And based on the bell tower in the background, it is 6 o'clock right now. Vai. You Fufi or bed? Fufi.
È dolce come wow, caramello, cookies and cream and marshmallow, fresh cocoa, vaniglia la meraviglia del blocco, dico caramello, cookies and cream and marshmallow, cioccolato, fragola meglio che ho mai mangiato. Macadamia mentre lo assaggia, fissami.
I'm really coming together here. I'm pressing down with these two fingers and up with my thumb without wiggling or putting too much pressure to where it will crumble and break. But I'm just going to...
Due ferri, chiamiamoli Ben Jerry. Lei vuole un G come Shelby, io voglio quella strawberry. Dulce, delece liscia la serata d'impulsi. Necessito un gusto rosa, tu sì. La differenza tra me e te è simple. Tu bimbo, io pimpo. È dolce come wow, oh, oh. Caramello, cookies and cream and marshmallow. Oh, oh, oh. Fresh coco, vaniglia la meraviglia del blocco. Dico oh, oh, oh.
Più bella, ma...
I'm gonna pretend you didn't just accidentally throw up by looking at my face, okay? Che cosa? What is it? A mess. That's okay. Casino è una parte dell'arte. A mess is a part of art. Hai capito? Dici in inglese? A mess? A part of art. Of art. Good job. Woody getting his face repaired by the old man in glasses. Pixar vibes. Comment if you agree.
Tolgo questo ice dal frigo, vuole farmi assaggiare come bello figo. È un gusto esotico, sa di mango. La giro da dietro come col Kangol. Oh mamma, monta sul mezzo come la panna. Tu sei mezzo e mezzo, Ranma. Entro all white come un gelataio. Raddoppio la white come con il taglio. La stessa di caramelle tipo Ari.
È troppo buona.
Del mio amico, Serra Manico. Mi piace quando lo fai like that. Occhiali da sole parano i flash. Ora la cioccolata diventa nero come un oreo. Cica fuma come tocchiamo il cielo. Tengo della cioccolata nella tasca però non è cameo. Cambio
Okay. The crazy lady has returned.
Kelvin sui boxer mentre lei è già sotto. Ho fatto così tanti soldi che manco li conto. Così tanti platini che non me li ricordo. Sciocco.
What do you do with all this video?
YouTube.
YouTube? And then you have a lot of like.
It depends on the video, but I use YouTube to
When
document.
you are at the swimming pool, you have a lot of like.
No, I don't share that.
Devo dare una settantina. 35 l'ho contate, 30 si vede, il 5 e il 5 non si vede. Quindi 30 più 4 sono 34. Però scusa, 34 quando sono detto che sono questi 25. Quindi io sono dentro. Sì. Invece meraviglioso.
Marvelous. Marvelous, wonderful synonyms.
The same.
Quando synonym e la parola è uguale.
Sì,
Sì, no, perfetto. Per le- You said I know. I said I know you know. She's 11 learning English. It's bittersweet watching this episode end for a few reasons. One of them, and the main one for me, being that this sculpture, much like my time in Italy, it lives incomplete. Last night, my mom and I watched Eat, Pray, Love for the first time. It's ironic because I kind of lived that life and I didn't even realize it. I was able to experience about
3 months of just doing nothing but eating and loving and praying and creating. And abruptly, my time in Italy was cut short from a visa issue, and I was launched back into the hustle and grind of New York City. So this sculpture lives on a shelf somewhere in the center of Pisa. Maybe one day soon I'll be able to actually finish it.
And you talking all that shit, now come on, you gon' have to back it up. If I get too high now, sugar, come on, I might never come down, I might never come down. Let me get down, come on, you might not ever come down. Let me get down, you might not ever come down. Wanna get down, you might never ever come down. It took too long to get this high off the ground. Don't run, just stay away.
Action. We got a hot mic. Hey everybody. Thank you for watching this episode of Art Heals Earth. Art is the aligned, resonant truth. If you like what we saw today, check out our website, arthealsearth.com. There's cool art, music, and other things to explore, like our Etsy shop. Subscribe to our newsletter and follow us on social media at Art Heals Earth. We love you. Bye. Cut. And see. That's a wrap. To the gate.
You might not ever come down. Let me get down. I love it. Ladies, thank you.
Sorry, that ending makes me so happy.
They're your children. I'm happy to hear this.
It's so, like, it's such a pure ending. Even if they weren't my children, it would be such a pure and beautiful ending, because it's like the essence of your life is like centered around that. It's beautiful.
Mom.
And then they're chiming in the background, Mom, Mom. I love it. Yes, the essence of my life is very much centered around children. So I appreciate that you see that. And obviously, I love spending so much time with you and with your children and helping guide them. You know, I think that that's what we need to do, especially as women. We need those support systems. And that's something that's ancient and beautiful and is not really practiced as much in the modern age. And I think I make the argument that it should be. I think our lives are better whenever we put more emphasis on raising children communally with those that we can trust. So I appreciate that. And I was looking at the behind the scenes video of that last night of us recording it. It's so cute. I'm probably going to include it on the email newsletter for the second episode after the fact, because it's like hilarious. They're like, you know, we're like whispering in their ears what to say. They're like saying it, but they're like mispronouncing it. They don't really know what they're saying, which is again the importance of having good people raising your children, because children are so impressionable. They'll just do or say anything that you tell them to, pretty much. So it needs to be things that matter, but it means a lot to me knowing that, you know, your beautiful angels will grow up looking back on this chapter of their life, and the things that we were teaching them were about fundamental truths and healing through art. You know, I think that's such a cool experience. So yes, we can have an informal discussion about, you know, this episode and last week's episode as well. I think, you know, last week I sort of shared some of the things that stood out to me before we opened discussion, but I think this week, if you guys want, or if you ladies rather want to unmute and share anything that stood out to you, I would love to listen, and we can engage in a dialogue from there. How does that sound to everybody?
Great to me.
Wonderful. So Ida, do you want to share, or Ani, I saw you unmute. Do you want to share?
I'm brushing my teeth. Oh, no.
Hero.
Sorry.
It's fine. Go ahead, Ida.
Sorry, we're like two sicklies eating fruit. It's so funny you mentioned the Corona diary too, and it's just alignment.
I'm like, nope, not that. You guys wouldn't know this because my camera was off, but when the episode was playing, as I sat down, I had gone to get myself something to drink, and I sat down and I started spinning my coffee and my ice the same exact second that on the screen I was spinning my coffee and my ice, and I took my sip in the same exact second. And I just was like laughing to myself. I was, yep, it sounds about right.
So iconic.
Oh my god.
Iconic.
Well, I know you're not feeling well, so if you don't share too much, but I know you had also texted and said you wanted to speak. So what would you like to say, beautiful Ida? I would love to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely. Does the background noise, is it too loud? No. I really love this episode, and as a European, and I love Italy so much, and I think this one really captures your artistry in the way that aligns with my European heritage. So that's why I think I like it more, and because you suit it, like you both go so well together that way. And I was talking to my partner like how much I want to live in Italy someday. How do you feel that being there has shaped your artistry?
That is such a good question. How do I feel living in Italy shaped my artistry? It was obviously, I mean, maybe not obvious, but for anyone who knows anything about the culture of Italy, it's very prominent, the arts. It's like everything is done artistically. The culture really celebrates that. And it was such a beautiful experience to be in a place where the arts are so immersed in everything you do. You walk down a street, but you're not walking down a street. You're walking down a paved road with bricks that are intentionally placed, and surrounding you are brush and foliage that's been so delicately and intentionally curated. Though you can turn down an alleyway and find something historic that's been, ancient in the culture, and it's very casual. In fact, in one of the episodes coming up, that was my experience of seeing the Leaning Tower of Pisa for the first time, because where I was living was very close to Pisa in a countryside called San Giuliano Terme, and that's where you saw all today on this episode. But in that episode, I'll never forget, and my mom shared with me the first time she saw the Leaning Tower, she had the same experience, because you're just walking down the street and you literally turn the corner and then you see this giant tower, because it's hidden when you're walking down the alleyway. You would never know, just like to the right is the Leaning Tower of Pisa, like one of the most iconic pieces of architecture in all of history. And so, that was such an amazing experience. And it was validating to me to be physically in that space, especially as an Italian person, to be able to experience my culture, my blood, my lineage, and to start thinking about how that's influenced my artistic abilities and my genealogy for generations previously. I have artists in my family, people who are amazing with their hands, builders, sculptors, painters, and I feel like I'm the first generation to be able to truly utilize those skills for what I want to use them for, not just for, whatever trade is going to be able to help them get by, or succumbing to that stereotype of the artist who just can't like break out of their barrier. I feel like I'm so broken from any barriers. I've broken free from any barriers. I'm not broken from barriers. I've broken open because of shattering any barriers. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So being able to be in that environment was a constant reflection of that. And then being able to go and visit like the Uffizi and see the David in person and be standing with this 17-foot tall sculpture on on pillars that make it even taller, and really studying works very closely. The only experience I can parallel that to was when I worked at the Salvador Dali Museum in Florida. I was very intimately spending time with his masterpieces, and so it was very influential. That's a great question. Thank you, Ida. I appreciate that. And Ani, if you're done brushing your teeth, you're welcome to unmute. And if you're not, Sophia, I would love to hear from you as well.
I am indeed done. I took my 2 minutes. I love seeing you in that element. I'm sorry, my kids are so loud. Let me go outside.
Not me too.
But yeah, I love seeing you in that element because you just seem to come alive. Like you could tell that a person is really in their element when they're like literally glowing and you can see their aura through a camera. And I think everyone needs to experience that. And I'm so happy that you got to and that you will continue to in the future, because I have yet to experience that, but I know that I will. And I look forward to that day. And I think that everyone, needs that because it helps them in their journey of like, in every sense, in spirituality, in mentality, in emotional ways, in, just learning who you are as a person, especially as a woman. Like having those experiences really shape just who you are. And I applaud you and I thank you for documenting that, because that's important for people to see that so that they can then understand that they need that for themselves too.
Yeah, that's true. And it's interesting because first of all, you definitely will experience that. I have no doubt, especially because we work so closely together, and I feel like I'm in the business of seeing to it that people get to experience those kinds of things. And I think travel really does that for anybody. You get to be put into a different environment completely. And what's so liberating about that is that when you're in a space, when you're in an environment that's totally different than where you grew up or the culture that you were raised with, even if it's not totally different, even if it's just somewhat different, you get to try on all of these different identities. Like you get to decide who do I want to be, in a way that you don't really have that freedom, especially if you're around people because when you're around people they think they know you and you think that they know you, and then you fall into the version of you that they think whenever they think of you. And when you're in an environment that's totally new and you're around people who don't speak the same language as you, there's already levels that are of unfamiliarity there that you get to take it as far as you really want to, and you can try on all of these different versions of yourself, and all of them are valid, all of them are true, all of them are you, but they just might be different versions that you are used to trying on. But your identity can just be sort of like fashion in an outfit. Like, yeah, I'm gonna have this hair today, or I'm gonna cover my hair today, or I'm gonna wear this dress, or I'm gonna be like punk, street, or formal. You get to decide who do you want to be. And I think that that's such a fun experiment to our consciousness, because we recognize how many possibilities there truly are. And I think that that's something that's, again, not really played with as much as it could be, because we fall into these ideas of who we need to be, and then we just sort of carry those roles out. And a lot of the times it leads to people feeling very distressed or lackluster. And that's sort of the point of this episode, was recognizing that we talk so much about this matrix like it's something outside of ourselves, but the truth is that we are everything that we see. So every piece of reality that we can consciously perceive is a part of us, because it's part of our consciousness. And that's sometimes a scary thing or a hard pill to swallow, because that means that every piece of evil in the world, all the most deranged, decrepit, depressed things that you can fathom, are a part of you. And the reason why you're experiencing them is because there's an internal part of this fractal of our brain that is projecting them outwardly into reality, or our perception of them, our perception of reality. Because what is real? Like our imagination, our thoughts, this is scientifically proven. The things we experience internally are as real to us on a biological level. Our trauma response is the same. Our endorphins and hormones that are emitted into our body are the same. The inflammation is the same. So our mind, our body does not know the difference between something that's experienced in reality or what's experienced internally. So it's very much like a law that the matrix is us. And so if it's us, then what are we trying to escape here? And I think that that's the essence of this message, is like, there's no reason to try to escape the matrix if you just accept that it is you and it's within you. And then life can be a more enjoyable experience because you have the autonomy, the power of choice to direct that perspective into a realm of something you actually want to enjoy. Like, your lived experience could be heaven on earth or hell on earth. Like, you get to decide. So that's something that I think is powerful. Sophia says, Karita's so smart, I can't. And yes, Ida, we definitely can visit lots of museums together. It's a very good experience, I think, for the mind to be able to witness a curated space of history, but it's also good to question it when you're in those spaces because it's curated. So a lot of the times we take history for what we read in textbooks and what we see in galleries, but the reality is someone in the modern age decided every single detail about how you're perceiving that, from where the period is placed in the book to which sculpture is closest to the bathroom. Someone's deciding that, and that shifts the way that we perceive the past as well. And so how much of that is accurate, we get to keep that in mind as well. So thank you for that. That sparked a really interesting thought there. Sophia, I would love to hear from you.
Okay, yeah, so I am so happy that I get to be here, and your thoughts and again your reflections are just everything to me. But I really wanted to start with saying that I was actually so blessed meeting you through social media. The way I instantly felt so welcomed, you know, by you and in this community. I'm so grateful for this. And I've spoken to you only once, but I think you gave me more than an hour then. And I remember, like, it's definitely something I'll never forget. I remember those feelings, and I really appreciate it. And so one thing that you said to me that stood out is, I'm not sure if I'm putting it exactly the way you did, but your message was, if you don't act, the world doesn't change. But if you do, one small choice can affect the lives of so many people, and that's basically the power that we hold. Yeah, again, it's stuck with me ever since, and I just wanted to say that you have this amazing ability not only to heal people, but to draw them in so deeply. And I think in the world that is so fast-paced, to me, you feel like one of those, rare souls sent here to help us reconnect with ourselves, and then with the earth. And so the first episode of Art Heals Earth felt like a meditation. And oh my God, I'm so nervous.
Oh, don't be so eloquently. Thank you so much. Please take and continue. It's really just us here. It really is.
Thank you. So I think it made me so aware of the present moment, and it's something I've been lacking for a long, long time. And for those, I guess, how much, like, for this hour, I was fully present. And first of all, it just reminded me of how important it is to just be. And I've told you this before, but even though you express yourself, mostly through artwork, you are the art. your voice, the choice of words, um, and your love for, those small little details, how much you appreciate everything. It all feels so genuine and so real. And so I think, I don't know you personally, but I think Art Heals Earth is the perfect reflection of your soul, because I can feel it. I can feel the genuineness and that authenticity and openness. So yeah, I think that's what makes your work so special.
Oh my goodness. What a gift. Thank you. That is like,
Thank you so much. I really appreciate everything you do.
wow. That is an amazing reflection and so well put. So thank you so much for,
Thank you
speaking
so much.
courage and confidence of that, and I feel that. And even if you were nervous, it's okay. It's a process. And I do remember that. I remember our conversation very well. And I remember, and I think you reflected what we spoke about so well too. It wasn't my exact words verbatim, but that doesn't matter because you felt what I was communicating to you, and you understood why I was communicating it to you, and it resonated with you. And
Yeah.
that's the fundamental truth. The art is the aligned, resonant truth. It's an alignment because when we're aligning with one another, and I'm in a state of alignment, and you're in a state of alignment, me to be able to reflect and mirror back to you, and you to be able to receive that. And the
Yeah.
resonance felt, we can feel it when we're vibrating on that level together. We're harmonizing, and it's the truth. And so it's well received because it's the truth. And we have you have your truth, I have my truth, but then there's the fundamental truth. Like there's just like the truth. And what we were talking about in that day and what we're reflecting on now is the truth. And I appreciate that so much that you remembered that and that stuck with you. And also it stuck with me so much. I've shared that interaction with both of the women here and several other times afterward I've shared. And I remember exactly what well, not the exact words, but I remember how I positioned it. And I would love to reflect on that a little bit deeper here now, because I think there's probably someone watching this that also needs that message, because I've had so many conversations that the people who I've been speaking with also needed that message. So I'm gonna do my best to enter that portal of time space again and share what we were talking about. I remember that, and without giving details, you were in a state energetically, which if raise your invisible hand if you've been in this state energetically before. I'm raising mine, where you were feeling, and I don't mean to project, but maybe a bit disempowered in yourself, maybe like not so sure if it was worthwhile to, you're raising your hand, okay, perfect, to even share your voice or even do the things that in your mind's eye that you like have a vision that you could do. It's like, is it possible? Is it worth it? Whatever. Maybe those were some of the things you were feeling. And if it weren't exactly what you were feeling, then maybe someone else is feeling that. And I remember saying, I kind of felt in that moment, and I know the women around me know they've experienced this version of me, because there's like the tender, gentle version of me that's like, oh, sweetie, like it's okay, come here, let me hug you. And then there's like the tough love version of me. And I think in that moment, you were like meeting the tough love version. So I was just sort of like, okay, so you don't know if you want to use the power of your voice? Don't. It won't matter to me. It won't make a difference, because I wouldn't know the difference. And you were like, it sort of struck you, because I think I remember seeing you in like this, you were in this like cycle of like, and then this, and like the story you were telling yourself. So I needed to like shatter you out of that. So I was just sort of like, okay, so don't do it. Whatever. And you were like, wait, now I'm leaning in, like, wait.
Yeah, I remember that. And that's the best part, really. Like the tough love. Yeah.
And then I said, imagine yourself as a literal flower, as a plant, right? if you're below the soil, there's a lot of work that needs to happen down here for you to even get to this point, right? You, as a little tiny seed, this potential, that's what a seed symbolizes, right? It's potential. Like you are here and there's work that needs to be done. The root starts to come out and go outward, and then it's working its way up and it finally pokes up. But before it pokes out and becomes a seedling, we don't perceive any of this. Up here, I'm here like walking around day in and day out. I don't even know you're down there. It's not a consciousness that I'm aware of. Like maybe in the distance, I have that in my brain, but like I'm not thinking about that because I don't see it. So I'm not experiencing anything about that. You're whoever, not just you, but like whoever is like down here in the dirt and they're in that and they're like, should I even come up for fresh air? I don't know. And then maybe one day they decide to do it. If they don't decide to, then they rot, and that's it. That's the experience of their reality. That's all. If they make the choice to continue to grow, to plant themselves, and to sprout, to become a seedling, suddenly everyone up here gets to experience their existence. Suddenly, everyone else up here gets to experience the beauty of their garden, the smell of their fragrance, the curvature of their petals. We get to experience the beauty of your growth. And when I shared this with these ladies here, they mirrored and reflected back to me as well that not only that, but your garden makes our gardens more beautiful. The cross-pollination, the cross-fertilization of your gift to the world improves the life of all of the plant life around you. You're producing oxygen for us. Your seeds get picked up in the air and they go far and wide and plant themselves again, and things you didn't even realize because you made that choice to grow now are planting seeds in other environments you didn't even know possible. You didn't even have to traverse physically, but the wind takes you there. So that metaphor is so powerful because it's like, yeah, so just don't like either choose to grow and we get to experience your beauty, or just don't, and then we won't know the difference. But nobody's like, okay, I'll just choose. Nobody I've encountered is like, yeah, I'll just choose to not make the world a more beautiful place and just shrivel up and die. I don't think that, given the choice and given the opportunity for someone to take time to, if someone comes and takes time and waters you and makes sure you have sunlight and makes sure the soil around you is fertile, every single time someone's going to choose to grow, that plant is going to do its very best to make it. Unfortunately, not everyone has that love and that nurturing, but the opportunity that you chose, the fact that you're here, okay, the fact that you showed up, the fact that you're speaking your reflection of all of these moments of life that have happened in between that moment and now, tells me that you have made a choice to grow. And that is like the most invaluable, priceless, beautiful thing. And it's good news because you made that choice, and now here you are. And now here you are surrounded by all of these women who are making a conscious choice to be the cultivator and harvest and check up on that plant and make sure it has sunlight and make sure it has water and all of these beautiful gardens surrounding you, that it's like encouragement to blossom and bloom. That is exactly what we're here collectively to co-create with one another. And I think it's the most beautiful thing. So I'm, from the bottom of my heart, I don't know if words could communicate to you how much it means to me that you chose to show up, you know? And I remember feeling just how in awe and grateful you seemed for me to have taken some time to sit down with you and have that conversation with you. And to me, it's like the most obvious thing. It's my purpose, it's what I'm here to do. And I was gifted and blessed to have women around me, particularly many women of color around me, to bring life back into me after I was walking my living death. So if it takes an hour, 2 hours, whatever, to sit with somebody and speak life back into them after they've maybe lost sight of that, it's like the most obvious thing. So thank you, Sophia. You're a beautiful soul, and I'm so grateful you're a part of this community. And I'm so grateful that we, as the women here present with one another, get the opportunity to pour into you. You know, you shared with me some of the things that would make us collaborating with one another worthwhile. And I'm not going to share them here because they're private to you, but I just want to say that I know I'm so confident of my ability to help deliver on those things, and the women around me, how capable they are of seeing to it that you get to experience all that you shared with me that you want to. So thank you for sharing that, and thank you for creating a space where we could have this conversation again, because it's a good one. I'm going to remember that metaphor forever, because it came organically in that moment. I hadn't really thought it through, and I think that's why it resonates so deeply. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for, refreshing this in my mind too. Also, I think I'm about to cry, really. That's how much it means to me, and thank you so much. I think, like, I'll be there next Saturday and the next one. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think invite a friend if you want to, or we can collectively encourage people who are aligned to, come to these things as well. The thing for me is, and I say this in the episode that we watched today too, it's like to use our gifts to create and to make an impact in more lives, or maybe a deeper impact in fewer lives. And I'm okay with either way. If it means having 7 people, 10 people, 100 people across my entire lifespan that were very, very deeply, deeply moved by my existence and my message, then that's fine with me. I don't need it to be an audience of 100,000 people for it to resonate and for me to feel like I've made my mark. I don't even think we need that to accomplish the mission of enriching the lives of every woman on the planet, or enriching and unlocking the minds of 1 billion people. If that is the result and I experience that, I'm surrendered to that too. So thank you for that. And booyah, made another one cry. Check.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Did it. My work's done. It's only 11 o'clock in the morning. Boom, we made it happen again. So thank you, ladies, so much. If anyone has any last final thoughts or words, you're more than welcome to share that in this last moment that we have shared together.
I do. I wanted to go back to, I don't remember the exact phrasing you said when, like 10 minutes ago, but I really see that your mission, in my perspective, in my experience with you, and being in this process with you of building this magnificent thing that we're doing right now, like, you bring love back to people who forgot what it was. Like the pure meaning of love, whether it's loving others, loving yourself, loving what you do, loving how you feel, loving what you're doing every day. Like, it's you have such a talent and such a way with your words that really make it resonate for people that are like, oh, I didn't think of it that way, but now I do, and it makes so much sense. And so I think that part of you is so valuable, and you're going to help so many people with just even speaking. Like, your tongue is
a magic wand and you bless people every day with it. And I am excited for you to continue this journey of speaking and sharing your insights and your wisdom and your knowledge and everything that you're learning as you go on your journey, because you're only going to get better. That's like the best part. Because you're only getting better still. And so we're going to be continuing to get better with you and alongside. And just, this is a beautiful, and it makes me emotional, because it's like, this is exactly what so many women pray for. This is what I've prayed for. And now we're living it. And now we're here together and we're blossoming this beautiful garden together. And all these women that are surrounding us, and these women, especially the women that are here today, it's like, this is exactly, and I know I can speak for Ida, because like she just said in the chat, this is what she paid for too. Like, it's just, it's divine and it's aligned and it's, the timing is perfect. And I'm very excited. I'm very grateful. And I applaud you for the work that you do in the world.
Well, thank you. That means a lot. I really appreciate that. Ida said, to be surrounded with genuine women is filling me up with love. Couldn't agree more. Here we come, 2025. Let's blast the truth out to the universe. Thank you all. I love you so much. And I'm sure that the group chats will be blowing up as soon as we get off here. So we won't be seeing each other, but yet somehow we will still be seeing each other. I love you. Thank you for shining all of your lights. And let's make the world a more beautiful place. Art is the aligned resonant truth. That's ART. That's art. And it heals. When we spread the art, when we align with the resonant truth, it harmoniously elevates, it autonomously levitates systems. That's art heals, and art heals the earth.